Hey everybody, good afternoon. Got a little song here for you. Let's see if you know what the song is once I stop it. It's related to jobs. So I'll give you a trivia before we get started today. All right, Jody, any guesses?
I have none.
The song is called Good Help is Hard to Find by Death Cab for Cutie.
That makes sense for today.
It's pretty, yeah, exactly right. So I picked it. It's pretty snappy. All right, well, welcome everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Chris Russell. Welcome to another edition of RecTech Live, a webcast series featuring recruiting tactics and demos from recruiting technology vendors. Today's all about tactics, though, to help you drive more applies. And joining me as my guest co-host is talent consultant Jody Brandstetter. Hey, Jody, how are you?
I'm doing great. So happy to be here, and I cannot wait to have some great tips coming my way. Always need them.
Excellent. We'll get to your introduction in a second, but buy Jody's book if you haven't already. It's in the chat there, Hire by Design.
Thank you.
Great primer there. Well, actually, let's differ. So give a quick introduction on yourself, and then we'll get to shout outs.
Yeah, so Jody Brandstetter. I am a chief talent strategist for Lean Effective Talent Strategies, and I help companies with creating better hiring processes so that hopefully they do a better job hiring. I am the author of Hire by Design, which really highlights how design thinking can help with that, kind of create a human focused approach to your hiring and how to utilize that methodology for that. And I am in the Midwest. I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio. And I live here with my crazy daughter, who's 6, named Lena, and my husband, Ron. And just been a huge recruiting, crazy, nerd for 20 plus years.
Awesome. Have you been to Skyline Chili recently? One of my favorite restaurants in Cincy.
Yes, I go to Skyline a lot. My daughter loves that place. She gets the noodles with cheese and a hot dog, and she eats it all together. It's crazy.
Excellent. Yeah, I went to when I was in college. My roommate was from Cincy, so we took a road trip, I think one spring break. We drove out there, 13, 14 hours, whatever it was, and that was my introduction to Skyline Chili. So I haven't been back since, so I need to get back there. And
I'll send you some. I'll mail some to you.
All right. 25 years later, I still remember it. So
awesome. It's very memorable. It has an interesting flavor to it.
Definitely. Okay, let's do some shout outs here. Feel free to network with each other. Put your LinkedIn URLs in the chat there. Let's see who's live. We've got 25 people already live on the call. Excellent. So Ryan, Kelly, Danielle, Kim, Chloe Rada's here. Hey, Chloe. Kirsten, D. Wallach, Mary, Jen, Heather, Jake, Joseph, Elizabeth, Brian Douglas, Andy Brooks, Sharon Hancock, Julia Sweet, Mark Anderson, Lisa Martin, and Melanie, Rosie, Deneen, Jesse Burgess, Jasmine Raymond. Feel free to say hello, everybody. Put your name, location in the show notes there in the chat, and connect with each other. All right, here. Shout out to my sponsor, Brazen.com. If you need some great virtual job fair software, go to brazen.com/RT. You can get a free guide to hosting a virtual job fair and a $25 Amazon gift card. So brazen.com/RT to check them out. Also, if you need, where's my card here? If you need HR recruiting help on a contract or project basis, head over to HR Lancers. It's something we're working on here at RecTech Media. Post your project or contract role right now for free. HR Lancers has thousands of HR freelancers, both on the HR side and the recruiting side, waiting there for projects. So go hire them. It's free, and help yourself out in the process overall. All right. Hey, everyone. Okay, we got the shout outs going there in the chats, and very good. Excellent. So, Jody, it's getting harder to find talent these days, I guess you could
Absolutely.
say.
Yes.
I'm curious, what are you telling your clients, or what are your clients telling you, and what are you telling them in return?
I hear a lot about not finding candidates because of the unemployment insurance and how that's keeping everyone home. I've really haven't heard a lot from my candidates about that. I think only one that's actually said something to me similar. And then with my candidates, I feel like a lot of them are just not ready to shift or move yet. They're happy where they're at, or at least they're happy now, and they're not ready to make that leap. I think they might be concerned. There's concerns there. So I think it's there's a lot of uncertainty still in the world, and
Yes.
that's definitely showing.
Yeah, I think that's, of course, the unemployment stuff isn't helping, but there is other reasons too. Like that's one of them, I think too. I think too, some people are just kind of reevaluating their lives, I think, and their careers because they've had time to think about it. And so, yeah, they're really thinking long and hard about what their next move is going to be. And so that's why they're hesitant, I think, as well. So it's crazy times. I mean, this is, I think it's probably the most challenging time ever in recruiting history, I would say. I mean, if you think about it.
Yeah.
So, excellent. Well, listen, folks. So today I wanted to do a show around, creative tactics to find more, get more applies coming into your company. I wrote an article on RegTech Media about a month ago with 17 ideas, and since then I thought of a few more, and so I want to kind of bring that to life essentially with a show like this. Asked Jody to come on and be my co-host. She'll monitor the chat there. But the idea today is basically I'm going to go through my topics or my tactics, but I want to hear back from you. I want this to be participation based. So I want the audience to chime in with their ideas, and let's try and crowdsource a huge list here of tactics to help you drive more applies. I know there's more than just what I've got out there. And so let's use the power of the crowd here to bring it all together and do this. And after the show's over, as a reward for your effort here, I will put together a doc with every tip in it and in a PDF form, and I'll send that out to you all. It'll probably take me a few days, but let's crowdsource these ideas, and I'll get it to you in a doc in a few days after the show. So that's your reward for taking part in this. You can put your ideas in the chat. If you want to come on the video and go live and I'll invite you on screen, just mention that in the chat there and I'll bring you on. But let's get rolling here. Let's get to some tactics. All right. So, all right. So first of all, before we get to tactics, let's talk about the problem first, because I think it goes without saying you have to have great wages today and benefits to, as a minimum, to attract talent. Jody and I were talking about signing bonuses before. There's got some great examples around that, but you've got to have the right salary, right? So quick story, my daughter who's 18, just left a $12 an hour job for a $15 an hour job at a country club for a $3 raise. And to her, that's gold. That's like, a 25% raise, I think it is. Right. So yeah, people are changing for money. And my daughter's proof of that. But she's doing great now. She's a waitress at a country club. And it's a great experience for her as well. I think she's getting some valuable experience in the workforce there. But you've got to have great salaries, and you got to make it easy to apply as well. If you don't have that easy to apply function on your site, no matter where it is, you're just costing applies right now. I think the average apply rate is around 6-7%. If you ask Appcast, that's pretty low. So maybe a little bit higher on like company career sites, but even if it's 10%, 90% of your traffic is not applying. And if there are barriers in the way to them doing that, you have to remove those barriers. So no register to log in or apply. You should be able to just upload a resume and boom, you're done. It shouldn't take more than a couple of minutes at the most. Have you had clients like that, Jody, in the past who just had these huge barriers in place?
Yes. Yeah. I had one client that had a process where they had to do the application, the assessment, the pre-screen, and download their resume. It was about an hour-long process, and they were trying to hire technical sales reps throughout the country. And so we ended up changing that to be where they literally just put the resume in. We had the conversation, and then once they were interested, we asked them to complete the rest of the process. So I'm a big component of step-by-step. Don't make them do everything up front. Just get enough information to have a conversation and then move them forward to the next piece, because they're more likely to do that versus having to do all of it at one time.
Exactly. That's actually one of my tips, which is, think of this as lead generation, right? Get their name, phone number, email. Then you can ask them to apply and further develop that lead going forward. That's on my list or somewhere. Speaking of signing bonuses, Jody and I were talking. You've got you mentioned a story with a $10,000 signing bonus. So what's the story behind that?
Yeah, so we have a hospital here in Cincinnati. We only have one level 1 trauma center here. And they have been really hurting on very specific roles. There's a lot of competition, I'm sure. I know, looking at Cleo, she has this crazy, post about how people sign contracts and then rescind to plot against getting more money and plot against employers. And I think that's something that happens in the hospital setting too. And so they're actually doing a $10,000 sign-on bonus for like radiation therapists. And a $25,000 sign-on bonus for operating room nurses, and really anything in the OR gets $25,000. And but they have to be there for 3 years, 3-year commitment, you guys, to get that money. And if they leave 2 years, 11 months, and 29 days, guess what? They have to pay it all back. That's probably not the best sign-on bonus process there to do, but I see a lot of companies doing sign-on bonuses to try to attract more talent, but I'm not sure if that is working or not. So would love you guys to give some feedback if you've done it.
What would be the right time frame, do you think, for a $25K signing bonus like that?
I mean, I'm okay with 3 years, but I think there should be a tiered system where by the end, if you've been there 2.5 years, you've probably given a lot. Do you really need to pay that whole $25,000 back?
Yeah.
So I'm not really that concerned about the 3-year commitment. I'm more concerned about you're expecting someone to know they're going to be there for 3 years, and if not, they have to pay that whole $10,000 back or that whole $25,000 back. I think they have to have a different approach there. But 30 days. I think they pay half 30 days. No, I'm sorry, half 90 days after they start, and then the rest after a year. So really, you already have to have a year commitment.
Yeah.
And it looks like someone just put, like, the healthcare market, we're using sign-on and do split 50% at 6 months and half at 1 year, and they vary. And then someone else said, there's lots of bonuses too in Alaska. So it's definitely, healthcare is has a huge need now, more than probably what they had before the pandemic, which was already a humongous need too.
Exactly right. Yeah, there's some couple of stories in Connecticut here. The Max Restaurant Group out of Hartford, they have $1,000 signing bonuses for like dishwashers, and I think you have to be there like 5 weeks to get that. So
wow.
I also saw Mohegan Sun, our casino, is offering $2,000 bonuses for culinary people, I guess cooks. I'm not sure what the stipulation is there. And then I saw this story yesterday, which is, let me see here, I'm going to read it to you. Amid labor shortage, Arizona restaurateur launches free college tuition program to attract employees. So people are even offering free tuition to come work for them. It says here, Vivili Hospitality Group, Prescott, Arizona's largest restaurant group, is partnering with Yavapai College, which is based in Northern Arizona, to offer free college tuition in an effort to incentivize new and existing employees amid a national hiring crisis. It's available today. And let's see here. So all Vivili employees are eligible for tuition benefits after 90 days of employment and working an average of 32 hours per week. So new staffers must be employed by May 22nd to qualify, and do they got to take a minimum of 12 credit hours per semester, it says, and earn a grade of C or better to receive the reimbursement. So people are getting creative out there. These times are requiring you to get creative, right?
Absolutely. I saw another creative kind of like benefit, kind of what you're talking about. Our zoo here actually provides free bus passes to all of their employees. They noticed that no one was using the reimbursement of the bus pass, and what they found out was that their employees didn't have the money to pay for the monthly bus pass, so they're paying daily. And so they weren't reaping the benefit of the reimbursement. So they flipped it and then just bought the actual bus passes to help with that, so that they didn't have to deal with finding the change or whatever to, take the bus to work. And that really was a huge incentive to retain some of their, employees, but also to get more employees to take the bus to work.
Yeah, it's a great story that they listened to their employees and actually figured a better way to do it overall. So awesome. All right, so let's get to the tactics. So, okay. So, all right, the first thing on my list, and I think this is getting creative, so hopefully you guys agree, is have you heard of Cameo? Have you heard of Cameo?
Yes.
It's the marketplace where you can go and buy messages from celebrities. So why not use that for recruiting, right? So I went on there the other day. They've got people from The Office, actors from The Office on there. They've got comedians, of course. Having a comedian like do a joke about working at your company or something like that would be funny and put it out there. There's even a movie trailer guy. Like you could do in a world where where you come work for my company. But I think Cameo would be an excellent way of trying something. I mean, it probably would cost you a couple $100 to do a funny or quirky cameo around your jobs and put it across your social media. So that's my tip number one. What do you think about that one?
I think that's smart. I actually looked at Cameo for a birthday present, never thought about it for recruiting, but it would be awesome if you had someone from The Office and you were like, in a business setting and you had that would be fantastic. And it is very reasonably priced.
Yeah. I mean, there's some expensive ones on there, but, I think you basically just type in your message you want them to say on the app and you upload it, you pay, and boom, they send it back to you. So it's a pretty easy process overall. But so that's tip number one. So use Cameo for recruiting. I said it first. Second thing would be going on the Fiverr. Now, Fiverr is an interesting marketplace. You can do a lot of stuff on there. So I guess my idea for that one would be like, do you know what an explainer video is, Jody?
Yes.
So a lot of software companies will basically create an explainer video around what their product does. And I think you can use this for creating a video job listing, if you will. If you're not comfortable on being on camera, a lot of people aren't, go get an explainer video done about your job. I think I've done it before. It only cost me a couple $100, and they do it in like a kind of doodle sketch, almost like a cartoonish type of thing. And all you do basically is write the script. Maybe it's 100 words, something like that. And they'll create the actual video for you. And, keep it to a minimum, a minute and a half, maybe at the most. But, using a marketplace like Fiverr to go find creative stuff to do on there. And there's a lot more stuff you can actually buy from a marketing perspective. So I would encourage you to go look through there and just look at the different providers on there. There's writers on there as well. Social media
I'm obsessed with Fiverr. So I actually just did some audiograms. So, when you have just the background picture of something and it looks like they're talking, you can get those for $5 on Fiverr, and they're amazing. So that could be a great way to do an employee testimonial who doesn't want to be on video.
Excellent. You can send you can upload give them a picture and make a video out of that. Chloe Roberts says, we plan to do explainer videos in Powtoon. What is it? I think I've heard of Powtoon. What is that software, Chloe? She said she had a bad experience with Fiverr.
I feel like Fiverr, again, it's it's a person that you're working with. So if you get a bad one,
when I use Fiverr, I try to find people in the U.S. to do stuff because I don't trust totally people overseas sometimes. I look at their examples, and I check out what they've done in the past. And I've never had an issue with it, but Powtoon. Okay, Chloe put a link in the chat there for Powtoon. So you can check that out.
Something else to think about with Fiverr and Upwork, and I've talked to one of my clients about this too, is that's one, it's a great place to get some content, to be able to utilize someone who, kind of the gig piece, but it's also could be a potential place to find contractors, consultants, or even full-time and people who want full-time employment down the road. Build a relationship, you get to see their work, and maybe you can recruit them later.
Yep. I saw this is sort of a second tip, but I saw a site that did cartoons. It's called workchronicles.com. They throw a link in the show notes here. And I thought it'd be cool if you could create like a cartoon guide, actually, or write a cartoon about your jobs, maybe a little day in the life kind of thing. And when I saw this guy's work, I said, "Oh, that's looked interesting. That could be a way to use it to create something, visually creative for a job listing." Here's the link, workchronicles.com.
Yeah, and Lisa points out you can actually buy that software, Doodly and Toonly are two. I actually have the Doodly software, and it is pretty easy to use, and it's pretty inexpensive too. So if you are a creative person and like to do creative pieces, definitely something you can do on your own.
Yeah, I've seen those. I've always I probably just pay somebody to do it.
Yeah, there are doers and there are people who want other people. It's two different ways. Yeah.
Although I do all my stuff, graphic stuff, on Canva now. I'm in love with Canva.
Me too.
I actually it's one software I actually look forward to using every day. It's like that.
I agree.
That fun.
How can we get applicant tracking systems to be like that?
I know, right? I know. Yeah, Canva's got so many features on there. I love the video stuff. Like, you can embed a video inside of a frame and make it nice around the frame. I mean, it's so cool. If you've got I've searched in it. They have like stock recruiting video you can get if you look through there. So really interesting stuff with Canva. I've only dived into half of it, but I use Canva a lot for my clients and pushing out visual job listings around that. So it's my go-to. I used to use Ripple, which is a great little app, but Canva is kind of blowing that out of the water from my ease of use standpoint. Canva.com. Yep. All right. Okay, so let's move on here. Get to my list. Next thing, and this is one I think a lot of companies haven't done yet, but they should, which is leverage social media influencers. So as an example, like if you went on TikTok today, I don't know, and you found there's probably an influencer for almost every industry, I would guess. Right? It could be on Twitter or Facebook, whatever. But let's say I heard somebody talk about TikTok the other day. And they mentioned that there's a nurse that has like 80,000 followers. So if you hire nurses, like go contact this nurse TikTok influencer and see if she'll be willing to promote your jobs for a fee. Influencer marketing is big today. People are doing it for consumer products. Do it for jobs too. I think you can make some hay there and stand out. And that's the point of all this stuff too, is it's about standing out today because you're all hiring, you're all paying essentially, similar wages and things like that. It's how do you separate yourself from the competition? It's marketing. And you need to stand out above the crowd when it comes to your jobs, especially today, especially now. And so I think leveraging influencers, finding and hiring social media influencers to promote your jobs and culture. If you're in the HR tech space, I have 10,000 Twitter followers, mainly in HR tech and recruiting. I'll pimp your jobs for a fee. There's lots of people like that out there, and I would encourage you to go look at that as a sort of a creative way to break out in the market.
And you can Google influencers with an industry and be able to find all kinds. So it should be pretty easy to find someone maybe in your market.
Somewhere that has a whole list of them.
Mm-hmm. I see them all the time. I find them where it's like 100 top HR influencers, for example. So I think if you put influencer and marketing or whatever, you're going to be able to find that list.
Yeah, there was that story of that TikTok guy who worked at a paint shop. Did you hear that one?
Oh yeah.
I think he got fired because he was just showing off paint, but he had 100,000 followers, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's gold. That's marketing gold. I mean, you should be loving that guy. You shouldn't be firing him, but some other company picked him up and now he works for them. So good for them.
I was saying, wasn't there someone who worked at, I don't know, like Dairy Queen or Wendy's or something, and or no, it was Chick-fil-A, and they were telling them their secrets of how they do stuff. And I think she got fired too, maybe.
Yeah. That's a little different, but yeah. So influencers are, to me, they're an unused recruiting marketing channel for employers out there. So go out there, find them, approach them, and see if they're willing to work with you and see what they can do. It's worth a try anyway. Right? Just do an experiment here. That's my other point about this is you have to experiment with your recruiting technology and your recruiting ads. You have to find out what works and what doesn't. And you need to try stuff and see what sticks. That's what it's all about. So that's been my mantra throughout life in terms of just learning new stuff. I just try stuff. If it works, great. I keep doing it. If it doesn't, I move on. And that's what you have to do here. All right, let's talk about job boards, because there is a way you can leverage job boards better, which is how the applied is done. So normally today with job boards, when you post a job on a niche job board or Indeed, whatever, you like to redirect back to your ATS. Well, don't do that, is the tip here. Let them apply on the job board itself. That will guaranteed increase applies. I guarantee you, because you're not sending the job seeker off the job site to a new page where they have to kind of redo everything and maybe log in or figure out how to apply from there. If they're already registered on the job board, they already have an application on hand. It means you have to go back to that job board now and find those applicants, but so what? You're desperate anyway at this point. Let them apply on the job board themselves. I know on Indeed you can do that. On LinkedIn you can do that with the easy apply, right? So leverage the easy applies out there with these, whatever job boards you're using. Andrew Brooks said, yes, from a job board we see a 30% increase in applies when they do that. Excellent. There's a company called JobSync. I think it's jobsync.io, I believe. And if you have an Indeed spend or Facebook spend, they'll actually tie your ATS into that. And so when somebody applies on Facebook, it'll go into your ATS. Same thing with your Indeed feeds as well. So they have that connection between a bunch of ATSs and the major job boards overall, jobsync.io. Excellent. So yeah, so that's the other tip about job boards there. Use the easy apply.
The other thing is if you don't feel comfortable with that, do both. I used to do that. I used to have one job posting that was linked to my applicant tracking system, but I also had the easy to apply too.
Okay.
And then you can even compare and contrast, like Chris was saying, test, see what works. But at least you're then getting two different potential candidates, one that's going to click on your career site and one that might actually apply directly on Indeed.
Yep. Excellent. Promo.com is also a great site for custom videos, Lisa Martin says. Okay. Missed that one. All right, here. Apply reminders. So I don't know how much ATS technology has this, but there's a company called emissary.ai, which I do a little bit of work with, just to put that out there. But they have this little apply reminder thing where it sits on your job description pages on your ATS. And if that job seeker does not click the apply button, it'll pop up a little box, I don't know, a few seconds afterwards. And it'll say, okay, something like, hey, you want to apply to this job later? Don't have time now? Just put your phone number in here and we'll remind you later. So reminding them, I think also is an important thing about that, because like I said, 90% of your people who are hitting your job description are not applying. Capture them somehow, and the apply reminder does that. So check out emissary.ai for that particular feature. I know a couple of job boards use it as well, but I'm not sure how many ATSs have that built in. But they should be building that feature if they're not already. You have to capture that person when they come to your site, because you do lose most of your seekers if you're coming to your job descriptions. If you're paying for that stuff, you're paying for it. You might as well get them somehow. At least get their email address so you can remarket to them afterwards. That's definitely a key thing to do.
And Chloe also talks about Dahlia alerts too, that she loves those.
Okay, Dahlia. Yeah, Dahlia is Dahlia Labs. It's my buddy Sam Fitzroy runs that. So they will capture them as well if they come to your job description pages before they apply. And I think it works the same way. Yeah, it sends job alerts plus awesome job seeker tips in the email. We integrate it with our CRM for engagement and drove 40K applications. Wow, that's great, Chloe. Excellent.
Great tip.
Yep. I forgot about Dahlia, so thanks. All right, here. Let's talk about employer referrals. I think you've got to boost that, right? Have you ever worked with creating any kind of internal employee referral program, Jody?
Yes, I've done that in a couple different companies that I worked at. I old data, but it was usually, we had usually 40 to 45% of our new hires were employee referrals. And we really kind of pushed that. And we didn't just push the dollars, we pushed prizes. We would, put them in raffles. We would give them, we would have competitions between two different sites, and whichever site won, the other site leader would have to go either wash cars or, barbecue for the other site. So we played on that to see what our employees really wanted. And one thing, so this was a call center environment. One thing that really got people excited was to get them, like they could win a office chair that had their name on it, because I guess our office chairs sucked. So they wanted a better one. And that was a huge motivator to get people to give us names. And we asked for names and contact information. We didn't expect them to apply. Like, we were like, give us the name, give us their contact information. We'll physically call them. We'll physically email them. We'll let them know you gave us their name, right? We'll connect those dots, but we're not going to expect someone to apply just because you gave me a name. So we were very adamant on cold calling those referrals.
So that probably worked better, right? Because you're being proactive. That you probably got more people to talk to anyway with that approach, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
One recruiter I read online, so she created a campaign internally, becoming a referral hero with a superhero theme. I have flyers, and I made flyers and made referral business cards to the employees to give out. I've done a blitz type reward, like refer someone who was hired by a certain date, and we bought a big screen TV as a reward. Employee referrals is the best thing to work for us. So yeah, you have to really gamify it. And
another tip is we actually created something called Snooze or Cruise. And there were these little cards, and it had a picture of our site leader with wings. And you could win those. And that was, you can come in 2 hours late or leave 2 hours early. So almost like a tardy pass. We made it look like Monopoly money. That was also a huge trigger for people to want to provide referrals just to get a couple hours off here and there.
Yeah, and I think you really have to advertise it internally well too. I was talking to one guy a couple years ago on my podcast, and they had like TV screens throughout the building. Well, I can't do this now, but back when you could go to the office, they had like TV screens with like basically job ads playing up there and things like that. So they really promoted it a lot internally. Just reinforced it, reiterated it again and again. Just drilling into their employees' heads. Look, send us referrals. So that's another part of it too. All right, here, moving on. Okay, so when I was in college, Jody, I was the advertising manager at the Southern News, the college newspaper, and that's my next tip. So I'm assuming colleges still have newspapers. At least I think they do.
I bet they're online, but I bet they have them.
They have websites too, right? So advertise on your college website or newspaper. I remember getting I did all the ads for the paper. Like I would get like national companies just sending me. This is back in the print days, of course, but they would send me the print ads, and I give them to the designer, and I manage that inventory flow. But I think college newspapers are a great place to attract talent, especially if you live in a college town. And you're hiring those folks, market to them where they are, and they read their own stuff. So that's another tip there for the audience. Partner with your local fraternities or sororities. That's another tip I had in here as well. I remember Camel Cigarettes hired my fraternity back in college to go out and pass out free cigarettes with some models. So I did that one year. Not that I smoked, but
that's great.
That's look at your fraternities and sororities and see they're always looking for a job. So at least they used to be anyway.
It's almost like your influencer kind of idea, right? But you're putting it more on an influencer on campus.
Yeah. In fact, I know like there's sites like Way Up and which is the early career or college grad recruiting site. They have like ambassadors on campus to drive seekers to drive students to the the site and create profiles, things like that, right? So, have a college ambassador campaign that you hire there. Maybe you can even make him a recruiting ambassador almost. Get them to recruit.
Sharon put Handshake, which is a huge career site for college recruitment. Definitely be checking that out to push
Handshake,
to push your stuff.
Handshake just got $80 million today, actually.
Oh wow! It's good to be a handshake today.
Yeah, I called it a handshake agreement.
Did they handshake, or did they fist bump, or did they elbow? Now.
Great question. Yeah.
That's a question I have.
Yeah. They might have to change it to join fist bump or something. All right. Billboards. You ever done a billboard for recruiting? I was driving on I-95 the other day, and I saw one for ASML, which is a semiconductor company in Wilton, Connecticut. And it was basically just like they had their EVP on there and their career site URL. That's all it went, a picture of some of their workers. But billboards are a great offline tactic, I think, for helping to spread the word. So what do you
especially
know about
high volume when you're constantly hiring that same position? So it's not, because a lot of times they want you to have it up there for a month. I know they have the electronic billboards that have a little bit more flexibility, but we did it where it was in a small town in New York, and a lot of people didn't know we were there and that we were a Fortune 500 company. And so we literally just put something like, did you know that you had a Fortune 500 company in your backyard and now hiring? So it was just something to hopefully connect the dots that we were there and that people should be considering us for employment.
Yep. Nancy has a campaign running on a massive electronic billboard. Nancy, how long is it running for? Give me some more details there in the chat if you could. I'm curious. I was another tip around that is just like if there's a billboard near one of your competitors, like buy that one. If you're looking to recruit from them, if you're looking to poach a bit.
I love Cleo. She did a QR code in the sky in Asia. That is so cool. I love that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's another idea, which is like hiring one of those planes, with a big sign on the back.
Yeah.
Hey, jobs at whatever .com, whatever. There you go. There's another example, another tip for you. She says, okay, Nancy says running for 1 week. It's to draw attention to agriculture. Okay. Very cool. I know when I bought some when I was running a job board company. They were 30-day runs. I think I only spent like a couple $1,000 on a couple of billboards. It wasn't that expensive. And I think the digital ones are even cheaper.
In a few seconds, I feel like I'm you. Like I've done all of that in my lifetime with recruiting. Theater ads. Like we have BW3s, and I don't know if they still do it, but it's a wings joint. They had advertisement in the bathroom. In the stalls. And I always joke that if that's where your competitors go and have their happy hour, advertise in the stall. No one knows that you're advertising to them. They might be interested. Yeah. It's all the grassroots stuff. I mean, I think that's all coming back.
Guerrilla marketing.
Can't stay online. Yeah.
Yeah, I advertise on the Metro North ones too, because the train, commuters going into Manhattan, they have these little poster ads on each train on the ends of each end where the doors are. There's two signs there, two ads. I've seen employment ads on those plenty of times over the years, and it's a great captive audience.
Dee said to drive through traveling billboard through the competitor's parking lot. Funny story. Yeah. I worked for a company and we had one of those employee referral programs I was talking about, and we had an employee literally take flyers to our competitors' parking lot and start plastering the cars with the flyers. And let's just say that didn't go well. No. It wasn't a good idea.
Coach on their office space. It's a little bit. If you can do that, do geofencing ads. That's a better way.
Yeah. But I had to give it to the employee. I mean, he was very, thinking outside the box.
Yeah, totally. Excellent. All right, here. Let's see. Moving on. This one's kind of tried and true, but virtual job fairs. Have you done any virtual job fairs in the last year or so with any of your clients? And then
I
also
have
drive-through
not.
job fairs as well.
I've seen the drive-through career fairs. I've looked at the virtual job fairs. I've been on some of the platforms, which seem amazing, but I have not physically done any of those for any of my clients.
Has anybody in the audience done a virtual job fair this year? If so, like how successful was it? I'm just curious. What platform did you use? Give us some details there if anybody's done that as we go here. Let's see here. So my next idea is streaming advertising. So there's a couple options here. So streaming services such as Spotify and Hulu have these self-serve ad platforms now. And you can go in there and target stuff with them. So why not create an audio or video campaign to advertise on those up-and-coming networks? Especially like a Spotify, I think would be an excellent thing to try. You know, get a 30-second radio ad. You can do it on Fiverr, like buy it on Fiverr, have a voiceover guy do it, or a woman. Get that done for a couple $100. Go to Spotify and advertise it. And you can actually target zip codes on Spotify, I believe, because they have that data overall. Same thing for like YouTube. If you go to youtube.com/ads, you know, take your explainer job video that you just bought on Fiverr and go try it on there. I'm not sure what the targeting options are like. I've never done a YouTube ad, but you know, I'll throw that link in the on the chat there. It says it's pretty targeted. Reach potential customers where they're watching. Get started now, and start getting results. So again, it's all about getting creative here, guys. It's standing out and doing different things than you're used to. And
it looks like a lot of people have done the virtual career fairs. A couple drive-throughs. It looks like one said they did a college one, but low attendance. So one did through Zoom. So a couple different.
Yeah, Indeed has those hiring events now. Lisa, how did that go? How many people did you get to that Indeed sponsored one? I'm curious. Let's see if she answers there. Okay, and next would be local Facebook groups. So some of you may know about this already, but if you don't, there are literally thousands of local job search Facebook groups or groups on Facebook related to jobs. And these are basically mini job boards or mini local job boards. And there are also some for industries as well. And so it's excellent free traffic. Go in there, join them. I belong to like 200 different job groups. Especially when I was running my job boards, I was using those as free traffic channels almost. They're great groups. You know, most of them are great groups. Some of them are full of spam, but if you have sort of entry level blue collar type work, I think they're excellent uses for those. There's literally a group. There's multiple groups for literally every city and town out there, and state. And you can just, you know, if you have a social media person, that should be part of their daily activity, in my opinion. Take 15 minutes, go take one of your jobs or a couple of your jobs and make sure they're posted in the local Facebook groups to help drive some traffic there. Lisa said it varies, going back to the job fair idea, it varies by location. We have one this week where we have 45 RSVPs, and then we have those where we get 5. Okay. So we have 45 RSVPs. How many will show up? That's what I want to know. D says we had 8 companies and only 25 job seekers, but it was through their unemployment office. Okay. I would imagine these numbers are going to be pretty low for most folks, just because of the market right now. But interesting. You know, you can do a Facebook Live too if you want to. If you have a Facebook page, just simple. You don't need a platform. You can just use that.
It's a great way to like walk around, like if you're in your office or manufacturing, walk around and show the environment.
Yep. That was in the AM. Yeah, what's a good time to have a virtual job fair these days? Is it in the morning? Is it the afternoon?
I'm sure we'll find out in about 2 years when they do all the studies.
Yeah. I would guess in the afternoon, maybe or lunchtime, maybe. I used to do pink slip parties at bars back in 2008 and 2009 when the Great Recession hit.
I didn't find pink the parties on Apple.
Nice series.
Yeah, I think a lot of times they say, at least for anything that's virtual, doing like a Tuesday or a Thursday, and they usually say around the lunch or early afternoon or like a little bit after, in late morning is usually key. But I'm not sure now that a lot of us are virtual all day, our mind shift might have happened with when we're okay with it. But we used to do on-site interviews at our office. And that's how, so instead of doing job fairs, we would bring the job fair to us. And so the only candidates were for us. And we did notice that we tried to do evening ones and we really didn't see as much traffic, even though you think, well, people want to leave their house or leave their work and come to us. We got more traffic, in the afternoon than we would in the evening. So it's kind of testing and seeing what works best.
Yeah. I got a job once through an open house. It was in the evening after work, like 6 to 8 at Gardner down in Stanford. And I went to that and got an interview on the spot. It was great. And I love that experience overall. They had, some refreshments out and they had recruiters around the tables and different departments spread out you could go talk to and things like that. So
yeah, we used to do on the spot offers too.
Yep.
And get their background checks completed while they were there and schedule their drug tests. We would do it all in like one day.
It's all about speed. You got to make it quick today.
Yes.
All right. That's the other tip, which is kind of a general one, but speed. The faster you make your process, the more hires you're going to make. It's that simple. All right. Going back to your original thought about easy applies. Think leads, not applies. For instance, here's a kind of a more specific tip there. You can advertise for leads. Basically, when I talk about leads, I mean contact information, name, phone number, email, on platforms like Facebook and LinkedIn. So LinkedIn actually has a lead form advertising unit, right? So you can go and create a campaign on there and collect leads for people who may be in your target market. All right, and you can do the same thing on Facebook. I know trucking companies do a great job with this. If you ever seen a trucking job ad on Facebook, they just collect the simplest name, phone number, email, and whether or not if they have a CDL license. That's their pre-screen, right? That's all they need to try and make it higher. And so think about that. A lead is better than no resume at all, right? Chloe says we're seeing an average cost per lead on LinkedIn of $43. Sounds about right. LinkedIn is expensive. But that's what types of positions, Chloe? Healthcare? You're a healthcare company now. And are you using the lead form itself as well?
While she might type that, Lisa had a great example. They actually did a in-person job fair at San Diego Zoo, and the people that showed up also got interest to the zoo that day. That's kind of cool.
Oh, interesting. Chloe says LinkedIn says her average is $3.93 per lead. Wow. Yeah. In fact, I work with a software company, and I tried that once a year or two ago, and it was pretty expensive for a per lead basis. So if you're getting $43, that's pretty good for a job seeker, I would think. Interesting. She's doing life science roles, farmer sales, healthcare comms, consulting. Okay. Dee's getting a new ATS, Avature. Excellent, with a CRM finding. Good job, Dee. Nice. That's a pretty decent CRM. Cool. All right. Next thing is my list is it's 10 to 5. Okay, we should probably run through these quicker. Internal ambassador program. So leverage your employees to share your jobs on their own social media accounts. One employer says they do this. They give cash away, $1,400 each month for employees that do so. I'm not sure what the stipulation is there, but if they also post about why they like working there, they get a second entry in the drawing. Okay, so they get a drawing for that money. That's a pretty good tip, I thought. But yeah, you need to leverage your internal employees. They've got social media networks. And the more you leverage your internal employees, you're just expanding that network overall for that reach of that message, whatever that message is. So do a job of the day they could share online, right? And then the other tip is around that is like send them the exact wording you want, so they can just cut and
Yes.
paste into their Facebook feed or their LinkedIn feed or whatever it is. Send them the image with it. Make it easy for them. But you've got to do that. If you leverage them, that's free advertising you're missing out on if you're not doing that.
Yep. And tag them when you post things. Tag them in. If you know they're in that department, tag them so they can instantly see it and share it with their network too.
Yep. But yeah, boost that up if you're not doing that yet. There is software out there that can help you with some of that stuff. Don't ask me off the top of my head what that might be, but I know it exists. And boost your internal ambassador program. All right, here, let's see here. Start texting. That's the next one on my list. So Jonathan Duarte from Go Hire, which is a chatbot company, also does some texting in there, told me over email, when was the last time you sent an email to somebody under 25 and they responded to it in a week, if at all? Exactly. The only reason outside of school that mobile first and hourly workforce has an email address is to sign up for Instagram, Snapchat, or other social networks. They don't read or respond to email, so you need to go to texting. If you're not doing texting yet, check out Emissary or any number of other vendors out there.
This is great for nursing, manufacturing, anyone that's on their feet all day. They're not looking at a computer.
Right.
Text them. They're going to text you back.
And a lot of people don't have computers, which I don't think a lot of recruiters know that, right? So, you know, if you're looking at a lower level type job and in a more entry level market, you know, they must have a phone. That's it. And if you can't apply by phone, you're not getting the apply.
A lot of rural areas still have really bad service, like internet service.
Yeah,
so that phone data is their lifeline.
Yeah. I mean, I think this country should make, you know, internet free for everybody out there, and we'd all be a lot better off.
Yep.
All right, here. Sponsor high school sports. That was on my next on my list. You know, kind of similar to college stuff. Like I know you can buy signs there and things like that. Maybe you can call them, hold a hiring event at a game. You know, once you can return to in-person activities. Relocation. We didn't talk about that, but that's definitely a tactic. You think that's growing in terms of its use in today's environment, Jody? Regular relocation packages?
I think yes and no, right? I mean, I think some companies are now open to letting people live where they live and hire them there, which is a huge tactic, right? For individuals who might not live in the best city that people don't want to live in. But at the same time, I do see some need for relocation, at least with some of my clients. They're relocating not just external, but they're also relocating internal people who have interest in a role. So make sure you think about that too. Are there internal candidates who would like to relocate that you could do that would make sense?
Great tip too. There's actually, I've seen some stories about like states and cities offering like 10 grand to come move there.
Tulsa had a really big program last year. Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yes, that was one of them. Yep.
It was all about virtual people coming in working remotely. And then I actually had someone who did that, was working with a company in New York City. And when she got down there, she loved it so much, she then got a job in Tulsa. So I think the goal is to get them to the city, get them to fall in love, and then they'll work for an employer there.
Interesting. If you're a Tulsa employer, like leverage that. Like, hey, look, you can get 10 grand from our city. And,
Yeah.
Very cool. A couple more things on my list, and we'll get out of here. But job wording. So next tip is hire a copywriter to write your job listings. Hire somebody who's trained in actually writing something nice versus having your HR person, your HR generalist write it. I've actually applied to jobs in the past because of the way they were written. Like they actually spoke to me, and it's rare that it happens out there, but it is possible. So go hire a copywriter, find somebody you like. I'll give you a couple names so you can check out Stories Inc. They do some writing. Katrina Kibben, who runs 3 Years Media, also writes job descriptions. But find somebody who likes to write job descriptions and hire them, and templatize all your existing listings and make them sound a lot better, because wording matters. And I think that's another way you can stand out too, is by having a well-crafted job description that sounds interesting, that sounds exciting to work for. So definitely keep that in mind. Let's see here. 2 more things on my list. Content. So I think companies need to up their content game and start writing job search advice content on a company blog, maybe. I know, Chloe, you may have done some of this back in your Sodexo days. They had a great blog, which they always kept up. Write about life at your company, give candidates tips on how to impress your recruiters, be an advocate for their success. I know Johnson & Johnson partnered with the Muse a couple years ago. They revamped all their communication templates, and they put a lot of advice in there: job search advice, interview advice, resume prep advice, to help their candidates move on each stage as they go, right? And so that stuff helps. It helps you, build your employer brand as well. And I think it's just it's a nice thing to do for your candidates out there, and helps you stand out as an employer who's different. And again, that's the point of a lot of this stuff.
I would also get your hiring managers involved in this content writing too. Like, yes, even if you have to ghostwrite it for them, but get them to have, get them to tell their employer's journey and get them to post that out there and get it on the website. The more you can get a hiring manager involved, the more they're going to understand the process and work with you.
Exactly. And I did a post on hiring manager content a couple weeks ago over on recruitingheadlines.com. And I couldn't say that enough. Years ago, I wanted to start a site called, Come Work For Me, which was just hiring managers, like, pitching themselves, because that's who I want to know, right? That's, if I'm coming to work at your company, I want to know who I'm going to work for. Like, at least let me know their names, so I can go look them up on LinkedIn, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's so important that companies often miss when they're pitching a job to somebody. Is who's the hiring manager? What are they like?
Yeah.
Get them to do a 30-second video or something like that. I know a lot of them not going to want to appear on camera, but do a Q&A with them or something to.
I'm just going to throw out the audiogram again. $5. Sorry, I'm still amazed it was only $5.
Fiverr's great. I love Fiverr.
You're going to see like 50 audiograms on my LinkedIn pretty soon because I'm just so obsessed with them.
Yeah, try one of those. And my last thing was just was leverage news outlets through either contacting them directly that you're hiring or through press releases. So it's kind of more around like you're seeing a lot of the national companies do national hiring days now, and they all put out press releases, and they get picked up. They work. So even if you're a small employer, but if you have a town newspaper, send them a press release or let them know you're hiring, and try and get some free press coverage. I mean, it's just worth a shot anyway. To put that out there, right?
Yeah, we would do press releases with every on-site interview that we had, and we would get picked up with the city north of us is Dayton, Ohio. It's a little bit smaller of a market. They would pick us up consistently and not only be in the paper, but also be on the news. So there's definitely something to be said when you're hiring. That is a positive news content that a lot of them are looking to have.
Yeah, a lot of the I know the local news outlet here in the Fox outlet does they have a series like Working in Connecticut, and they actually profile companies. I'm not sure how you get on there, but if you can get on there, that's pretty good press. They come in and do a whole video shoot and things like that. So that's
also, you can advertise on the news, right? Like, you can advertise the traffic. You can, so those are things that I think we used to do a little bit more of, and we've kind of stepped back. But again, now that some of us are virtual and maybe we're getting to watch the news, again, that might be another avenue to look at.
Yeah, in fact, I have an Amazon TV. I'm streaming only. So, but I live in Fairfield County, Connecticut, and I guess the FCC lumps us in with the New York market. So when I get my AT&T TV, I don't get the Connecticut news stations. I get the New York news stations. I know it's a whole other story. But in order for me to get Connecticut news, I download the WFSB app, which is Channel 3 out of Hartford. I watch the news on that app. And on that app, they have ads. And I believe you can contact them directly and get on there if you're like a Connecticut employer and have your ad shown. It's a video ad.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like a little pre-roll before the streaming starts. So,
absolutely. Yeah. So Jen's fascinated with my audiogram. I have to tell her what it is again. Tell her, because obviously I might as well just start being an influencer for audiogram. I'm so excited. So Jen, it is one of those really short, less than 60-second audio where it has a background, but it shows like the person's talking, so it has the little lines like you would see. So it's great to use on social media, on your website. And we were talking about using it to, profile an employee testimonial. You can maybe do a quick job posting kind of review. It could even be a really quick, tell me about the company, and you're kind of giving that overview. So, and on Fiverr, I found this amazing US-based person who does it for $5. Yeah, very similar to an explainer video, just more audio than video. So I'm a big fan, obviously. It's my new thing.
It doesn't take a big budget to get some of this stuff. It's if you think creatively, you can create some interesting content that doesn't cost a lot. Like
Absolutely.
For $5, and that's a great piece of content you can reuse over and over again too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the thing. Reuse content is so important too. Like you were just talking about, Chris. As an entrepreneur, I'm always trying to figure out. So if I do a podcast, I'm doing a blog about it, I'm posting on social media. So that, as a recruiter, how can you reuse content in different ways to kind of, again, show you're doing something, but you're not having to redo it every time. It's just spin it in different ways. And that could be a lifesaver on time.
Yeah, like I'm a big content marketer myself. So if I have a blog post, I might turn it into a podcast where I read it into an audio file, or maybe I'll do a video on it. All right. That's 3 pieces of content from 1 piece of content.
Yeah.
That I can then use over and over again.
And yeah, you should do like go ahead.
Even this show is going to be, I'm going to strip down the audio, put it onto the Rectype podcast. It's going to go on YouTube, and it's going to be on Crowdcast. And I'm going to share it across all the social media channels. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's
you guys can do a poll on LinkedIn, ask a question about what your candidates are looking for, take that poll, then all of a sudden you can do a blog, then you can, there's just so many different ways to be creative where you're saving money, but you're making a big impact.
Exactly. Yep. Very cool. All right. Well, it's 5:02. I think I'm out of ideas. So how about you, Joe? Do you got anything else you want to add?
I just want to talk about audiograms again. No, just kidding. Just kidding. This has been great. So many awesome ideas
for this pod here. So you talked me into it. Excellent. Hey, Stephen from Scotland. Thanks for joining us. All right. Well, that's it, guys. Well, I appreciate you all joining. Again, the replay of this will be available on Crowdcast in just a couple minutes as soon as the process is there. I'd like to thank my guest co-host here, Jody Brandstetter. Jody, what's your website?
My website is Cincy.com, and the book is Hire by Design. If you guys are interested in reading a book about design thinking and putting it into your recruiting process, and that's on Amazon.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you, Jody, coming on today and helping me out.
Thank you. So much fun.
Thank you to Chat Row there. Chloe, thank you. Jen, thank you. I'm glad you guys could participate. And I will work on getting the doc out to you all. Just give me a couple of days here. So, but appreciate everyone's time. For RecTech Live, I'm Chris Russell. See you next time.